I need it for some reason. Okay. So welcome to Comm 300. I'm Dr. Opfer, and I love this class, and I'm very excited to be here this semester. And I would love to see your faces. If you put your camera on, I would really appreciate it. Um, but we will be looking a lot at the pages today. Oh, hey, how you doing, Matthew? Good, good. All right. I see. Oh, Tony. I see Tony. Who else? I see. Who else do I see that I know? So, and
Hi,
oh,
Dr. O.
hey, hey, hey. All right. Yay. Look at all these faces. All right. You get serotonin and other feel-good hormones when you look in people's eyes, right? So that's one of the reasons I need to see your eyes so I could feel good today. Okay. And this class is on Zoom. I didn't ask them to put it on Zoom because I'd rather see you face to face, but I guess for a lot of people it works better in their schedules, so they started offering this class on Zoom, which I've taught for more than 30 years face to face. So um it works, it does work, and you'll learn plenty in this class. Um but we do a lot of role plays. So I need you to have your cameras on so you can see people, because part of what you do when you're negotiating or resolving a conflict is you're reacting to people's body language and their facial expressions. So I really need this class to be a camera on class. If I'm just lecturing, and I have PowerPoint on, it's not a big deal because I can't see any faces. But if we're talking, like right now, I'm talking to the whole class, and if you're talking to each other in breakout rooms, please have the cameras on, because the nonverbal is an important part of it. Okay. Um, very good. Okay, so what I plan to do today is to just basically introduce the course and explain it, and also the course materials, and then see if you have any questions, and then if we have time, you can all introduce yourselves and I'll take attendance. Um, so let me pull up the Canvas page and tell me if you can see it when I do this, because last class wasn't seeing it, and um, I have to move it. Okay, so let's see, where's the canvases here? Okay, so let's see now. It's not showing you okay. Here we are. Okay, so can you see it? Do you see the Canvas page?
Yes,
You do? Okay, good. Because my
I see
last
it.
class wasn't seen. I had to move it onto a different screen. Okay, very good. All right. So you may have seen this already because I launched it, I guess, yesterday, right? So um this is just the announcement that I sent out, and I will always use the same Zoom link for a class so it won't get confusing. And you can find it if you go down here and click on here. Then so that's a quick way to access it if it works. See if it's working. Today, for some reason, it was moving really slow, and I got freaked out that it wasn't going to even work at all. But there's something about it that's going. I think the interface between Canvas and Zoom is somehow sluggish today. See, there it is. Okay. So you can always go to the meetings on Zoom. So they're all there. Okay. All right. So I'll go to the home page now, and here we are. Okay. So this is just course information, my contact information and so on. I will have office hours after class in case you have questions or concerns you need to address with me. I can also be available for appointments. You can look at this information about me if you're interested. And then so you're here, so I know you know this. And then the syllabus I have here, but also there's a syllabus page. And so that's that information. Okay, so let's go to the syllabus now. Okay, so I have this here so you can download the entire syllabus. And look at it at any time. I think it's just going especially slow because we're on Zoom. Either that or everybody's using Canvas all at the same time to introduce their classes, right? That's why it slows down when it's busy. There we are. Okay. Okay, so this is just the general information about me, and I always try to get to my emails as soon as I can within a 24-hour period, but sometimes things are really busy and I don't get to it for 2 days. But if I don't respond after 2 days, please resend it because sometimes emails do get lost, unfortunately. The other thing is I take classes, so I like taking psychology classes, and because I'm enlisted as both an instructor and a student, sometimes they send my student emails to my student when what they shouldn't. They should only send stuff that concerns my, whatever my role as a student, which is basically just going to that class and whatever the teacher sends me. But sometimes, I don't know, it gets mixed up. So I will try to send you, but if you want to make sure it goes to me, use this email address rather than going through the Canvas page. Okay, because then it'll get to my instructor email address. Okay, so this class focuses on the role of language and dialogue in the construction, the escalation, and the resolution of conflict in interpersonal, organizational, and community context. So it has we look at different types of conflicts, but most of them are interpersonal within those other settings. We're not going to be talking about how to resolve group conflicts. I know that there's a class on collaboration in teams that some of you may have taken where you learn how to facilitate groups. So that's partly what you do when you do group facilitation for group conflicts, but there's different strategies, but you need to have the basic skills that we're learning in this class before you are able to do the strategies to handle conflicts between groups. Okay, so we're going to be looking at interpersonal conflict within these different settings, and just not a lot, but just a little bit about the social, political, and historical and behavioral. We're definitely going to look at behavioral, but not so much about social, political, and historical, just in terms of definitions and where we are right now with conflicts, and maybe looking at some contemporary conflicts that are going on because of our history. Okay. And we'll be looking at conflict. The course description of the catalog says it's from a variety of disciplinary perspectives, but I'm using a textbook, the interpersonal conflict textbook, that was written by communication scholars. With that said, the field was started by a social psychologist named Morton Deutsch, and then and other people. I mean, he's the one that coined the first definition of conflict that we're going to use. So it's an interdisciplinary field, but we're looking at it the way communication professionals or communication scholars and students look at it. And the course relevance is maybe don't even have to say this, but everybody has conflict. The only people I know who never have conflict are dead. So, and people will still try to rile up conflicts about dead people, right? So it's just in our lives. Most mammals have conflict as well, so we're not unique in that field. And you'll learn that we can manage it effectively. It's pervasive, it's constant, it's inescapable, and there's good ways and there's ineffective ways to manage it. So we're trying to help you do that, because this can help you in your home life, in your dating life, with significant others if you're beyond just the dating stage. Okay, help you at work, and it can help you in your community too, and in whatever groups you're in. So it's relevant to all different contexts. Okay, the textbook is available through perusal, and maybe some of you got it, and It's a platform that I learned about that seems to me to be extremely awesome. You can read about it on their website because I don't want to take a lot of time to talk about it, but I will tell you it was developed at Harvard, and it's been now in operation for quite a number of years. So there's been a lot of research on it, and students like it, and it helps people both understand the reading more. It helps them get more out of the reading, and it also helps people get engaged with reading, which a lot of people don't like reading because they feel like it's lonely. So this turns reading into like a social platform where you can write messages to each other. So you'll see all the information about Perusal on the Perusal website, and I will go to later on after I explain the course, I will show you how to get to the website in case you haven't been there yet. And these are some extra books that you're not required to read, but they're ones that I recommend. And the objectives are to identify and describe the common sources of conflict, to identify and describe the conflict, the communication dynamics that generate conflict, to distinguish destructive and constructive conflict behavior. So what is the difference between an effective way and an ineffective way to resolve it? So we'll be looking at that. Developing your skills to be more effective conflict managers and mediators, and then to perform a comprehensive written conflict analysis. And then lastly, to learn how to mediate. So that's a really fun part of the course, but I think all the negotiation role plays are equally fun for people, especially if you like negotiating and interacting with your fellow students. We will also be working in groups in class as well. So it's a very interactive class, which is why I want everyone to have their cameras on, especially when you're in groups interacting with each other, because like I said, the eye contact, the facial expressions, the nonverbals are really important parts of communicating. The expectations here: effective teaching is grounded in collaborative knowledge construction. So I strive to create a supportive and imaginative environment that fosters mutual respect, diverse learning styles, and distinctive discursive strategies. To achieve this, I like to use an active approach. So for this reason, I want you to come up with the guidelines. So what I'll do is I will let you go into a breakout room for a short time here. Let me stop the screen share. Where's that? Oh, now the screen share disappeared on here. Okay, let's see here. Oh, it's went way up to my top of my screen on my second screen. Okay, stop screen share. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to put you in breakout groups, and I want you to make a list of what you think are, actually, you know what might be faster? No, because you can't see each other's anyway fast enough. So let's just have you going back and forth. No, let's do it on the chat. Let's see, where's the chat box? Chat box. Okay, write down what you think are some good ground rules for classroom interaction, okay? So go ahead and type in a ground rule that you'd like to contribute to our list here, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll take the list and synthesize it after class to save time, so you have to sit here and watch me getting rid of the duplicates. And then I'll put the synthesized list into the syllabus in those boxes that you just saw, okay? While you're typing, I'm gonna grab some more water because I keep losing my voice because I have a cold. I'll be right back. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right. I wish we could use a talking stick, but here we are online and we can't use one, but that's great. So I can tell by your responses that some of you have been are already probably pretty good at conflict management because these are rules that really help in conflict. And how many of you have taken the Comm 210 course? Just raise your hand if you've taken Comm 210. So, okay, yeah, so a few. So some of you have taken Comp 210, yeah. So some of the things about listening and, ways to talk you would have learned in Comp 210, and hopefully you'll expand on this now. And then how many of you have had conflict training at work or had, what you call customer service training? So if people complain that you know what to do to try to de-escalate, yeah? Oh, a lot. Okay. So this is going to add to that, and you'll be able to also contribute to the class and what we know from stuff that you may have learned. And you can also, if you think there's something left out because you've studied some stuff that really work, you can add it in. So it's going to be interactive. It won't only be the textbook and me whose ideas that are important in here. Okay. All right, so let me go back to the syllabus. So I'm going to save the chat and write in. I have to synthesize because there's a lot of duplication. So that means I have to take out duplicates and then try to put it all into one set of statements there. Okay, so I'm going back to the share screen. We want to go here again and then go back to this. Here's okay. So can y'all see that again? The syllabus.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I'm asking because my previous class wasn't able to see it a few times. All right. So I will be taking attendance at the beginning normally. I won't today, but other days I will. And you have to be in class when I take attendance for the attendance points. You'll see when we look at the points that there's 50 points for attendance and then there's points for the assignment. So even if you're late, you still get points for the work that you do in class, but you just won't get the attendant points. So that's because if people aren't in class, they're not going to learn these processes because you have to apply them to really learn them. If you do have an emergency, then just let me know and contact me, email me as soon as you can, and we'll figure out the best way to work with the situation when they arise. Let's hope, knock on wood, right? Knock on wood, but we never know. Okay. So for writing a 12-point font, Times New Roman 12-point font, and keep a record for yourself because things can get lost. And I highly recommend that you save often. I know a lot of people have automatic and you probably go with that, right? Well, I was doing that in last semester when I was taking my psychology class, my 7-page paper. When I pressed save at the end, my computer froze and I lost the last 2 pages I wrote. So save often and save extra copies so that you don't end up having to rewrite a paper. If you do have to rewrite a paper, the best thing is to rewrite as fast as you can while everything's still in your brain, because the longer you wait, the more of it leaves. And that's what I did. I just kept on writing until I came back out. All right. If you have food or housing insecurity, this is the website. Our campus is really good at trying to help people. And we know that there's a lot of hard situations. I've had students lose their home in the middle of the semester, so they can help you find temporary housing and help you get it resituated. And same thing with food. And you probably all know about the pantry because you're all juniors and seniors. So it's great to live on to work in a campus where they're so supportive of students. I'm very proud of that. If you have emotional challenges or stresses, I highly recommend you go to CAPS where they have counselors. It's really a perk to go to a campus that has free counseling. And it's not really free because you pay tuition. So everything you have here is not really free, but it's not extra. and it can cost $150 to $300 an hour to see a counselor. So if you have any kind of emotional challenges, you feel stressed, anxious, even if you're feeling like you're in a dilemma, it can be great to talk to a counselor to work things out. Counseling is different than talking to your friends because they don't have a stake. It's different than talking to your family who wants to tell you what to do. They don't have a stake in it, and they just want to listen to you and help you figure out what's best for you. They don't want to tell you what to do. And there's not a lot of people that actually do that in your life. Everyone usually takes a position and says, "Oh, do this." You may be lucky and have some friends that just listen and ask you, "Well, what do you think you should do?" But usually people don't. So that's why counseling is such a great resource. Um, I do provide whatever accommodations are sent to me through DOS, and I never try to fight them. So if you need any, just let them know and they send them to me. And I like to work with people and make this an inclusive space. Academic dishonesty, no matter what type, is going to be severely handled. So I report it to the dean's office, and if the evidence that I provide them with says that you definitely did some academic dishonesty, you will fail the assignment, and in some cases you'll fail the class, depending on how severe it was. And I don't treat it lightly. I seem like a really easygoing person because usually I am, but I'm not easygoing about academic dishonesty because honestly, I think that it's destroying our society for people to be lying so much and cheating and trying to get things over on people. And I sure don't want I don't want to hire a lawyer who cheated in law school. I don't want to go see a doctor who cheated in undergraduate or medical school. I don't want to, I don't want anyone in my life to be someone who didn't do the work to learn and to be, an expert. So that's why you go to school, is to learn how to be an expert and not to cut corners, because we all know what happens when you cut corners, if things just get messed up. Okay. Now, there's new technology that came out just a year ago, the artificial intelligence that can write for you. Okay. And people are using them. And I think there may be some ways that, it could be helpful in some situations, but in our class, it's not allowed. And here's how I look at it. If I was teaching a cycling class, I would not let students come to class with an e-bike, because they're not going to get physically fit. They're not going to increase their endurance. They're not going to get their muscles in shape. Nothing good is going to come out of riding around in an e-bike, except for seeing the scenery. And you don't need to be in a cycling class to do that. So it's the same thing for me with artificial intelligence. You're not going to use your own brain. You're using someone else's brain, and you're using information that's been synthesized by a machine and all put together. I know that there's some people that are working on figuring out how to integrate it into the curriculum where students can use it in some situations and refine it. But I want you to be able to answer questions when you're at a job interview and someone asks you about your conflict analysis. I want you to be able to just answer them and not say just a minute and pull out ChatGPT, because you won't get hired. I want you, when you're at a meeting, to be able to answer a question at the meeting without pulling out your ChatGPT. Okay. I want you to be very competent and capable and expert thinkers and leaders. And at this point, I don't see a way to integrate it in this class in a helpful way. I think it would replace your critical thinking, your analysis, your creativity, because I'm going to ask you to write us to report on a story. Okay. So we're not going to use it. And great if other teachers are letting you use it for some stuff. I'm not. And I have detection software, and the Cruiser website does too. So you can't use it for your responses to homework, and you can't use it for any written assignments in class. Okay. All right. Instructor illness and emergency. So if I'm sick or I have an emergency, I do everything I can to make sure that you get your course content. So if I have to videotape a lecture, I will, and so on. But otherwise, I try to be here, and I very, very rarely miss classes. even when my mom was in the hospital, I was teaching from Zoom from the hospital room. So I really work hard to always be there for students. And if you have something that comes up that's like, you get in an accident, you're hospitalized, you have to have surgery, just let me know what's going on and I'll work with you to try to help you be able to complete all the coursework. I just need to have the documentation for whatever it is so that I am perceived as fair, because if I let some people get, not show me documentation and others I do, it looks like I trust some students and not others. So I just need everyone to give me documentation of these situations that could emerge. If you have a preferred name, you can put it onto into the Zoom so that I call you by preferred name. And I usually, if we're face to face, use plaques, but here where the plaque is right up on, on the board since we're online. Okay. Um, so my commitments to you are that I'll be supportive. So if anything comes up for you, I'm willing to listen to you and troubleshoot with you or help you strategize, because I want you to succeed in class. I will provide challenge. So there's plenty of material for you to learn and lots of ways for you to learn the material. So it's going to be, you'll be continuously working. I don't think it's as hard as physics, because that was the hardest class I ever took, but you do have to work at it to do well in this class. I promise to be respectful to you at all times and be mindful of how I speak with you. And if you have concerns about the class, come and share them with me and we could have a conversation about it. And then I will make an effort to get everything back to you within phone calls. Phone calls or emails 24 hours. And also, if I don't, then you can always, try to contact me again. But like I said, sometimes it could take 2 days. And I'll also try to return your work within a week. But sometimes if I have a lot of assignments from a lot of different classes, I can get backed up because I teach 5 classes. And then I promise to be prepared. And I do know this material really, really well. I've been teaching this before I was even a professor, because I worked for a nonprofit and taught people all over the country. So, and even in other countries, I taught this material. So I've taught it to all kinds of audiences. I started with this small nonprofit as a community mediator, and then I got so excited about this and I thought it was just the greatest thing since sliced bread. I thought mediation needed to be spread all over the planet. And I became a trainer for this organization while I was also getting my master's degree in communication. So they fit together really well because mediation is basically a communication process. And a lot of my research and writing and so on, it connects to this, and my teaching, it connects a lot to this. I worked for the community boards program for 10 years before I left to go get a PhD. And like I said, I worked all over the country and I worked with people, all different age groups. I worked with kindergartners and first graders. I've worked with different ages in elementary. I've worked with high schools. I've trained the teachers in both in all 3 levels, elementary, middle, and high school. I've trained district superintendents. I've worked with corporations. I've worked with nonprofits. I've worked with government, like the police and fire department. And I even worked at a hospital where I trained, I trained all the people that worked in the hospital over 3 days, and I had a different class every hour, and I was getting dizzy. It was like my head was spinning because it was a different group of people every hour. And so I have worked in this field for a long time, and I have a service project that I'm always working with in Nigeria, in Africa, that I met through Mediation Beyond Borders. And so I'm going to share that with you too later on. And I have, I've just been doing this everywhere, and everywhere I've done it, people always feel like this makes their lives better, and they see ways they can implement it to try to make more peace in their communities. So I love this because it helps build peace, and I love this because it resonates with other people. So obviously, many people around the planet want more peace, and want people to get along. So this is a class that I'm always prepared for and that I love teaching and that I'm really happy to share with you. Okay, now this is a section about the assignments and what's expected of you. So for attendance, I said that's 50 points and the in-class assignments. So a lot of times you do role plays or group discussions and I ask you to write something up for that. It could be an agreement, it could be some ideas that you brainstormed with your group and so on. So I always collect all those so that you get points on those as well as the points on the attendance so that you get actually 100 points for being in classes, and you have to be at the beginning to get the full amount. Okay. For the homework, we're mostly going to use the perusal platform with the exception of the term project, and I may occasionally put some other stuff in there that I think will help you. So that's going to be 200 points, which is 20% of your grade. And because I'm using that and it requires you to really pay attention to what you're reading and write notes and comments and comment on your fellow students' comments. That's why it's worth so many points. And also because I'm using perusal, I'm not requiring quizzes. So quizzes are optional. There will be some practice quizzes that people might want to take to prepare them for the exams, but there won't be weekly quizzes, which for a lot of people that takes the stress out, a little bit more stress out of the class. Okay. There's a term project that's worth a lot, it's worth 20% of your grade. And I've broken it down into parts to make it easier, because if you wait till the end of the semester, it's really hard to do. So you will have the different parts due on different days. And so I want you to use an actual conflict, either one you had or one that you witnessed, so that you can actually interview the other party that was in the conflict with you and get their side of the story. Or if you want to do it on two people that had a conflict, you can interview each one and get their side of the story. So that way you have a lot of material to work with. Then you're going to write in a narrative description of the conflict using the perspectives of both parties. So, and then you're going to do this preliminary analysis that's using a table that I'll give you that's based on the conflict assessment instrument in our textbook in the assessment chapter. So on the table, you just have to write bullet points. You don't have to write full sentences at all. Just write bullet points to begin your thinking, to kind of create an outline for your ideas for the paper. And then you're going to take that and do an analytical paper that's going to use the concepts that we've used all semester. So people do well on this as long as they pay attention all semester and do all the reading. It's usually not hard to do. And the paper is like pre-organized by the template. So you don't even have to think that hard about how to organize it. You just have to think about how to narrow down what you want to talk about it in a conceptual way. So we'll be working all semester on learning all the concepts that then come together at the end. And then you're going to do a PowerPoint presentation on your key learning outcomes. So you're not going to sit there and tell us the whole conflict, because that could take 10 minutes just by itself, and then your whole breakdown and stuff. No, you're just going to tell us the highlights, what you learned from doing this, so we can hear from everybody, like, what did you learn from doing this? Like, because it's really interesting to hear how people learn different things from it. And I just want to tell you one little brief story about this assignment. So one of my students had a horrible conflict with her dad because she went to she broke up with her boyfriend. He was mad, so he invited her over to talk, and she went over there, and he slipped the rape drug into her drink and raped her. And he did that to get back at her for breaking up with him, because he was mad, and because also he knew that being a virgin when she got married was really important to her. So she of course was devastated by that. And then when she told her father had no empathy and said it was her fault. for going over a man's house. Now, the guy was her age, you know, another young person like yourselves. She trusted because she was dating him, and then and he blamed her. So she was devastated now, not only by the ex-boyfriend, but also by the dad. And this conflict haunted her. And she did a paper about it, and she actually interviewed her dad to find out why he didn't have empathy for her and why he blamed her for this happening. And they got into a really deep conversation, and he explained his perspective, and it built empathy between them, and it really strengthened their relationship. And so that that was heartwarming for me to see how just doing an assignment could actually repair a broken relationship in a family. That was really wonderful. And I've had other students do conflicts like with other people in their family, or it could be a friend or whatever. Now, I want to tell you one really kind of inspiring thing about this first person I mentioned. When she graduated, she got a job in her dad's business. Now, imagine if she had not resolved that conflict, that it might not have gone that way, right? So she got a job in her dad's business, and this was a very successful major business in Denver. And in 10 years, she was CEO of that company. Now, do you think she would have become the CEO of that company if she hadn't resolved that conflict with her dad? And so really good things can come out of. Now, I'm not trying to say that everyone does this paper is going to become a CEO, because no, I'm sorry, that's not going to be the case. But it will teach you how to really understand a conflict and take another person's perspective, and this is going to help you. And being able to do these skills is also what helps you become a really good mediator, so that you can help other people solve conflicts when either you're working as a mediator, or let's say you're a boss and you have two employees that are fighting, or if you're a parent and you have two kids fighting, your friends are fighting. I had a former student text me yesterday asking me if I'd mediate a conflict between two of her friends because she didn't have time, and she wanted me to get paid for it, and it was a couple, but I didn't have time. But it's like you have valuable skills and people will recognize that in you, and people will turn to you for that. Okay, sometimes you're going to have to learn how to put up some boundaries, because too many people are going to want your help if you start using these skills a lot to help people. Okay, so that's the term project. It's a meaningful and helpful assignment to do. And then there's 3 exams worth 150 points each, so it's a total of 450 points. Okay, so that's the total for 100% on your grade. And then this is just the schedule. Okay, so what I wanted to do next is let me stop for a minute and just see if you have any questions. So this thing went, here we go, stop the screen share. So do you have any questions about any of this material that I just went over? It was a lot. Any questions about anything at all? No? Okay, so I'm gonna go to come back to this page, to go back to screen share. All right. So, okay. So we don't need to look at the syllabus anymore. So I just want to show you the modules page. Okay. So I did I turned on, I think they say it's called turning it on. I see those green buttons. So I turned on the material for today, and the stuff that I wanted you to see for next week, like the module overview. But I light them up on a week-to-week basis. So you're not going to see all your assignments at the beginning of the semester. And I don't do it because I was told that it makes the course feel more organized for students. And so you'll just see everything from from week to week. And then I always have everything organized for you on the platform. Okay. So whatever's due that day will be here. So you have the syllabus that shows you the due dates, but then you have everything here as well. That's to know what's due each week. Okay. Okay, so that's that. So now I wanted to do the perusal. Go to perusal. So where'd it go? Oh, I didn't put the perusal on here, huh? Let's go to here then. Well, I'll just type it in. Okay, so perusal is just spelt like peruse all. Okay, .com. So once you go to perusal.com, you just press on get started, and then you can watch the video to explain to you why people like this app. And then to get started, you just press this button, and it's going to ask you for a course code. So I'm going to go to ours. So we're here. Okay, and okay, oh, that's not it. Wait here. I just need, oh, here, access. Okay, here we go. So here's the course code. So if you put this in, it's going to take you to our course, and it's going to direct you to purchase the textbook. So I got permission, or works with the publisher to integrate it into here. So I'm going to stop the share screen for a second. Okay. All right. And I'm going to put the code into the chat right now so you can get it. So it's my last name, OPFFER hyphen CDJFT. Okay. So that's what you type into the perusal, and it's just to get the spelling right, it's perusal, 2 L's at the end.com. That's how you spell perusal.com. Okay. So just give you a minute to get that. And that way you can get all the course materials. Okay. So does anyone need any more time, or you've got it? You got that written down? Okay, so I'm going to go back to share screen. Okay, so when you go to the course, there's you're going to be able to see all the assignments. Okay, so here's all the assignments. So for the first day, I'm just having you practice with it. So this here is an assignment that Perusal made based on all of the feedback they've gotten over the years, because it's been around now for quite a few years. So they did this to help people figure out how to use all of the different elements of it. But it's pretty simple. All you do is you log on, and then you highlight what you're reading, and then you write a comment on the side, on the right-hand side. So that's how it works. Now, in addition to writing your own comment or your own question, then you can also comment on your fellow students' comments or questions. And when you're on the website, you can also see who else is on, because their little avatars will be up there, and you can start a chat with somebody, or you can start a group chat on it. So there's different ways that it enables communication between students as you're doing the reading. And so this one is just introduces you to how to use Perusal, and it tells you, it gives you an explanation. It also tells you how it grades. and it does automatic grading, and there's three. You can get a 0, or you can get a 1, 2, or a 3, with 3 being, or no, I think 1 is the highest grade, but it goes, no, I think it's 3 is the highest grade. Anyway, you have to look at it. So sorry. The numbers are. So what it does is track what you're doing, and then I get to go in and look at it and as well to make sure that I'm in agreement with them. So there's different levels of comments. Like there's ones that are just not that helpful, and they're not that meaningful because a person just wrote an opinion without giving any backing to it. So basically the good comments are ones that provide evidence for what the student is saying, and also extends it a little bit, or brings up something that isn't obvious, and so on. So the app actually rates your comments and gives you a grade. And if you have an issue with the grade and you don't understand it, it tells you why you got the grade. And then if you disagree with it, then you can tell me and we can have a conversation. Okay. So I'm not just going to ignore any of your concerns that you might have about it, but I can just tell you that students are really, really happy with this app, with all the research that they've done on it. Okay. Um, so you can comment on a reading, but you can also comment on a video. So I put a very short, like 2-minute video for you to practice commenting on a video as well. And then I have the chapter assignment. Okay. So it's not due till the 30th, because I wanted to give you enough time to just do all this and make sure all this was working for you before I actually have you start doing the work on the chapter. Okay. Um, one of the things that I can tell you that you get points for is if you go into it at different times and don't just sit down all in one sitting. The app can tell if you've read all the way through the assignment or if you just read the first 2 pages. And one of the ways they know is because people just comment on the first 2 pages. But they also have some other kind of application in it that measures, it figures out what your reading time is by seeing how long it takes you to get through stuff. And I don't ask me how they do it, because I'm not a computer scientist or a mathematician, but I can just tell you that they have all these ways of measuring your activity on here. So if you get on it a few different times, go in there, comment on your, not only on your own, the what you read for yourself, but then comment on your classmates' comments, then you get more points for that. And it looks at the quality of your comments on the reading, as well as the quality of the comments to your classmates and the quality of your questions. And it sees how active you are. So if you like comment on a lot of people's like that, you get some points for that. So there's all these different things that you can get points for. It's not only the comments, but it's how active you are, how engaged you are, how, if you like read through from beginning to end and all that. So they just have amazing capabilities to figure all that stuff out. And they did it so that students could have a more enjoyable and engaging experience reading. So I think that's great. It's like reading on Facebook or something, you know. So I hope it really works for you. And because I know it takes time to do all those comments and stuff, that's why I'm not doing quizzes. But the quizzes are optional. As I said, you can do them if it makes you more comfortable to take the exam after you've done quizzes with similar kinds of questions. I use the same, construction for quizzes as I do for the exams. Okay, so any questions about perusal?
It's it's accessed through Canvas, correct?
No, not at our school. Our school hasn't adopted it as a school, but perusal allows individual instructors to adopt it. I asked our school to adopt it, but there's a whole process for doing that, and it takes time. It takes probably about a year or so if it works well in this class, then I'm going to start sharing the results with other professors, because like no one in our department knew about it. The first day of school, I told our other professors, and they were very interested because they never heard of it. So
So it's a program then we have to make an account to access it and all that.
yes, you have to go to perusal.com. After you go to perusal.com, it walks you through everything.
Okay.
Okay. So here's this getting started page. You just click on the getting started page, and it's just going to walk you through everything. Okay. And but I think, see, I'm registered, so first thing it's going to do is have you register, and I recommend that you register with your email account from the university, because it's going to send you reminders about your assignments when they're due. So if you want it all through your school email, where you normally get notices from Canvas, then I recommend you use that email. And yeah, so I'm going to share it. I'm hoping that our professors like it, then they share it. And then people with more power than me, like department chairs, then start asking for it. I did learn that there's another app that some teachers are using, but it doesn't have as many capabilities. This one's way more powerful than the other one that's being used. It measures a lot more, and there's more stuff you can do on it. So than the other one. So I don't know, but the school has just adopted that other one, is new for our school. And so, it takes time for things to happen. Okay, so any other questions about Perusal while I have the Perusal app up?
I do have a question. I was wondering if you would be putting like I don't know if the reminder is the right word, but like due dates into Canvas, so that on like the calendar on Canvas it would say like perusal homework due or stuff like that, or if the only way to know when the stuff is due is through Perusal itself, and getting the email
The
reminders.
only way to get the email reminders is through Perusal itself, because Perusal's not linked to Canvas. And I'm going to let the Perusal is going to compile all your homework and give you a grade on Perusal, and then I'm going to convert it into a grade that for the percentage that I told you. So you're just going to get one grade on Canvas for Perusal, but you can track your progress through the Perusal website. Okay, so use the email address where you want to get reminders, and it will send you the reminders. Okay. And if you go to it multiple times during the week, that you'll do something every time you go on, you'll get more points. I know that, but it's not a huge amount of points. It's like 3 points, I guess, is the max. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions about Perusal?
Yeah, I had one more. On the thing, it allows you, like, gives you 3 different options for buying the book. Is it okay if we do the cheaper option, which is the 180 days?
Yeah, you can. It's just for this. You just need it for one semester.
Thank
Just
you.
need it for this semester. You don't need it for any other. So yeah. Yeah, it's like just the same as renting it for a semester. I mean, you're just renting it, but you're just accessing it through here. And it's a way you can write in a book without worrying about losing your money, right? So you write in you're not supposed to write in the rental books, and if you buy the new book, it's hard to sell it used when you read all over it. So now you can write in your books again like we used to before they in the good old days when textbooks were cheap. I used to write like crazy in my textbooks. Everyone would do that. We would all write in our textbooks and write notes and stuff, and then we come to class and talk about it. But that kind of went away with like renting them, and then I guess because they got so expensive, people want to just sell them back. They don't want to keep them. And these are good questions. Do you have any more questions about Perusal or anything else?
I do.
Yeah.
So I bought the book from McGraw-Hill like during the summer, should I refund the book and buy it on Perusal instead?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I remember you sent out an email about the book.
yeah. Well,
So
I talked to the bookstore and they told me that people could return the book. If they give you a hard time about it, just tell them you did buy the book, you just bought it through this app, and because they're paying the publisher for it, so they should refund you the money for it.
okay,
Because
thank you.
they're still getting the money. It's not like they lost the money, but just tell them that and see, maybe they just need proof of your Perusal account or something and showing them that the book's there.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank.
I mean, that was the one thing I hadn't thought about. I hadn't thought about people going through the website there, but I did send that. You're reminding me now that I did send it, but I called the bookstore and the bookstore said they'll take back any books, no problem, before I just decided to do this, but I'm sorry about that. I was, I've been conscientious trying to save you the money all since I went with this textbook. So, yeah,
You're totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that
yeah.
there was another way. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I would just contact them and tell them and tell them you're buying it through here so that, because I think they have a lot of incentive to sell it through here, because it probably gets the book wider distributed. Okay. All right, any other questions about Perusal? Anything at all? Okay.
Oh, quick question. The
Yeah.
3 points are per chapter, right?
Yeah, it's per chapter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so okay. Any other questions at all? So, and you will get points for this practice assignment too, so you get something for it, okay? Any other questions? All right, then, very good. So, all right, so what I wanted to do, the other thing I wanted to do today was to do a little brainstorm activity. So, let me stop the screen share again. Oh, this thing. There we go. Okay. Back to our screen. Here we are. Okay. So, I want you to just on the chat, because I can't write fast enough, but if we were in class, I'd just be writing this on the board, but I want you to write on the chat. If you think of a conflict that you've been in, what words, what's like one word that goes through your head when you think of conflict? So like for me, when I think of conflict, I think frustrating. Okay. So go ahead and call it out. And then after you call it out, like write it down into the chat. Okay. So what's a one word association that you have with conflict? All right. So we got mad, angry, annoying, anxiety, agitated, hate, annoyed, stressed, disappointment, anxious, misunderstanding, sad, tense. Okay. Okay, so it's the list says is okay, mad, stressful, angry, annoying, anxiety, agitated, hate, annoyed, stressed, disappointment, anxious, misunderstanding, sad, tense, excitement, anxious, anxiety, annoying, disagreement, annoying, anxiety, frustrated, different points of view. Okay, so what do the majority of your associations have in common? I saw this, okay. Yeah. What? Thumbs down, huh? Yeah, we don't like conflict. Okay. mostly negative experiences, right? So most people, when they think of conflict, they have negative experiences, and that's what comes to mind is it just has a negative conflict connotation, so that people don't even like the word conflict. So books on conflict management, there's some really good books on conflict management, and they don't even call them conflict management because people hate conflict so much you can't sell as many books. So one of the best books there is out there on how to manage conflicts is called Crucial Conversations, right? So I admire those people so much because they thought of a way to talk about it without calling it conflict, because they sold millions, they're bestsellers. They've sold millions and millions of copies, and what's in that book is great. So that's why I have it in a reserve library. It has a lot of the same material we have in our textbook, but they put it into language that people won't, go, oh no, I don't like conflict. We don't have conflicts here. So that's one thing to think about, how if people have all these negative associations, how people don't want to deal with it, right? Okay. So why do you think people have, I already said that people have negative experiences, but why do you think people have negative experiences? Why is conflict negative for most people?
Can we speak it or are we typing it?
Yeah, go ahead and speak.
I think most people don't like conflict because it forces change. When you have conflict, you're almost forced to put your viewpoint on hold. So I think for some, it's a very foundation shattering experience.
That's a really good insight. Okay, that's a really good insight. So I want to have you do a little activity there. Okay, I want you to clasp your hands like you normally do, and just clasp your hands and just hold them on your lap for a minute and see what that feels like. Okay. Now, so just like this and down, like the way you do, like when you sometimes sit like that with your hands like this. Okay, now I want you to take your hands and switch. If you have the left pinky on the bottom, switch it so the right's on the bottom. And if you have the right one, switch it. So I'm going to switch it like that. Now try to do that. And now, how does that feel?
Different.
This feels different. Okay. Now try to, I know you could probably just do the one you automatically, now try to do the other one just as fast. Like mine is, I'm missing when I try to do it fast. I miss. Can you get it as quickly into place the other way?
Yeah, I mean, at first it's kind of difficult, but once you get the rhythm.
Okay. You can get a rhythm, and then after you get a rhythm, you can actually go back and forth, right? But we all have a go-to. We all have a go-to. In fact, like all people on the planet do this. And everyone has a certain way to do it, and there's no rhyme and reason. It's not like all lefties do it this way and all righties do it that way. It's just everyone does this, but everyone does it one way or the other. It's like two different ways to do it, right? So what this exercise I had you do demonstrates is that change feels weird, right? So exactly what Timothy said, change feels weird. And so people resist it. And sometimes it feels really uncomfortable as well. And, or worse, it makes you feel bad, you feel like you're losing something. So that's kind of sets us up to really not wanna, to have negative associations, and then to have some ways of dealing with it, processes that may or may not really help us. Because if you don't like conflict, what are you likely to do?
Avoid it.
Yeah. So if you avoid conflict, what happens?
You never get. Go for it.
Sorry, I was gonna say the root issue gets worse.
Yeah, so a lot of times it just gets worse. Okay, so you're going to have a whole thing to read about conflict, the avoidance and escalation cycles, right? So usually avoidance just leads to more conflict, and we're going to talk more about conflict styles and so on. But people don't like dealing with conflict; they have a lot of negative associations, and then it also has to do with how people approach it. Okay, now. We can't do this in class because we're all in separate rooms, but how many of you have played that the thumb wrestling game where you try to pin the other person's? You played that game? Anybody never play it? You've all played this game? Okay, so what I want you to do for homework, I'm not going to grade this, but I want you to ask someone in your life that you're going to see between now and Wednesday to play this game with you and see how many touches you get. Okay. And then I want you to, with the same person, figure out a way to take turns to get even more points. And see how can you do this to get the most amount of points possible? Okay. So just do that, and we'll just talk about it as a little experiment with a friend or a family member or somebody, okay? Just play that with them, because we can't do it in class. Unfortunately, online, we can't thumb wrestle. But it's a kind of a fun. And then after you do that, we'll talk about it, because there's actually a concept in that that's going to help you understand some of the reasons why people have these negative associations with conflict, okay? Now, your textbook is going to talk about the reasons to study conflict, but you're not required to read it until next week. So let's just brainstorm right now. What are some reasons that you think studying conflict could be helpful? Go ahead and call them. I'm going to just call on people. Okay, so Tony, why do you think it could be helpful?
Sorry, I just want the question again.
Why is studying conflict helpful?
To teach you how to solve problems.
Okay, so you learn how to solve problems. Okay, another reason, Juan?
Probably just so that you can, like how you said, mediate, or maybe even just avoid it altogether. You know how to get out of situations better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's avoidance wouldn't be one of the goals, but how to manage it better is definitely. But so Timothy already spoke. How about Andre? What are some reasons why you think it could help you to study conflict?
It helps with life experiences and just helpful for the future and knowing how to go about certain situations.
All right, so it helps you deal with different types of situations. Okay, Shay, can you think of a more specific reason why it might be helpful?
I think it's helpful because I had a thought when we were talking.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to someone and have these conflicts, I feel like knowing the mature way to go about the situation is very helpful, and I believe that this class would be helpful with that.
Okay, yeah. So knowing how to go about it in a mature way. Okay. Jacqueline, can you think of another reason why it can help you?
I think it helps us like understand each other better and help people understand one another.
That's great. That one's not even in the textbook. That's a good one. It helps to increase understanding. Okay. Very good. Okay, Omar, can you think of a reason it would be helpful to take this class?
For future like problem resolutions, helps you for jobs, especially if you're going into any customer service jobs, management, they have to deal with a lot of conflict.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons listed in your textbook, is that it helps you with your professional life. So it doesn't matter what what field you go into, because people have conflicts in every walk of life. And I've had a lot of friends who've said, oh, I wish you could come to my workplace and do some workshops, because we sure need them. And some of them are like, in all different fields: biology, education, high tech, low tech. I mean, you name it. People have conflict everywhere. Yeah. So it helps you in your professional life. And people that are good at solving conflict can frequently recognized and get more job opportunities for advancement. So it's a really good skill professionally to have. It helps you. It's one of the outcomes of learning how to do it, is learning how to do it effectively, is to find more options for solving problems. So it helps you with your solving problem skills. How about Rochelle? What's a reason why you think it would be helpful for you to take this class?
A reason would be for your own personal well-being during conflict situation, because we always have conflict around us, and how you can handle it and help yourself, really.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That's in the textbook talking about how it improves your mental health. Because conflicts cause us stress, and they can really depress us. Okay.
Is it also?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
is it also too, because some people, or just in some circumstances, overreact and like start screaming and, and complicated circumstances?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
teaches you a way to be doing it more in a professional manner and listen
Yes.
to this.
Yeah. It'll
Okay.
teach you how to do it more constructively. So you'll come across better and you'll be more effective. You're more likely to get what you want by doing, by using more cooperative approaches.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah. Yeah. So let me see. Okay, I see we only have 4 minutes left. So the textbook will have more, but like because it's not due until I think the 30th. So Monday, tell you what's up for no, today's what's up for Wednesday. We will talk more about this on Wednesday, but then so if you want to read ahead, even though you have to do those instructional assignments to help you use the perusal. If you want to read it, you can, but we'll get more into the beginning, the introductory information about conflict. Okay, we'll get going. So if you don't do the reading by Wednesday, it's not a big deal, but if you can, it could be helpful. And then Monday you need to have done the required reading. Yeah. So okay. So
sorry.
yes, a question.
Yeah, quick question. I'm sorry. Where do we find the code for the course code for the parcel?
Oh, I put it in the chat, but I'm just going to recut. I'm going to cut and paste it again.
I see. Okay.
Didn't I put it in the chat before?
It's also in the syllabus I saw, I think, isn't it in there too?
Yeah.
I was going through the syllabus. Maybe I'm just flying.
I think it's also in announcements.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I put it in a lot of different places as I want people to find it.
Thank you.
Just put it in the chat and it disappeared. Oh, okay, wait here. Oh, well, I can't. I don't know where it went. So, okay. So let's see here. I want to just see. I only have 2 minutes left. So just hold on a second here. I can do attendance by the names on that are showing up here right now. But when I try to take a screenshot, the names disappear. So I have to do it with my phone so I can do attendance by the photo. Disappeared again. I have to do it quick too, and names disappear. Okay. I think I got everyone's name here. Okay. On here, that's here today. Okay. Let's see if I can read it. Is anyone using something else like iPhone or something so I won't know what it means?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so all right, so who's listed as iPhone?
Cortez.
Cortez. Okay, what's your first name?
Yeah, that's my first name.
Oh, that's your first name. What's your last name?
Harris.
Harris? Oh, Cortez Harris. Oh, okay. All right, Cortez. Anyone else who's got something that I won't recognize there?
I don't know if my name is on it. I'm on my phone for today. Usually I'll be on my laptop though.
Is that Bree?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're showing up. Okay. So it
Okay,
looks
thank
like
you.
it looks like all the names are showing up okay on here. Yeah, I see everyone's names. So,
Professor, I don't know if mine's is showing up as April or Abril.
oh, it's
Because
shown as April.
so it's Abril, Abril.
Abril. So is that you rather be called Abril?
I would rather be called April.
Oh, okay. And I do want you to have your preferred name. So what's your last name, April?
Garcia.
Garcia. Okay. That's easy to spell. All right. Gotcha. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Then I think we're good and you're free to go. And if you have any questions, I stick around. And if not, I'll see you on Wednesday. Okay. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So you said the next assignment is due Monday, correct? Besides the reading?
Oh, no, you have these practice assignments that are due on Wednesday for using the perusal website and make sure you know how to use it.
Okay, Wednesday before class or Wednesday midnight?
Yeah, Wednesday before class, because I wanted to, at the beginning of class, see if anyone had any troubles, if we can troubleshoot it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay. Any more questions? No?
Hi, Professor.
Hi.
My Wi-Fi just like cut off at the end, so when you were taking
Oh, okay.
attendance, I was here.
Oh, here, let me make sure you're on here.
Yeah, I was gone for like 2 minutes, but it just like shut off.
Oh, okay. So I'm just, all right. So I'll mark you here. Very good.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too. Bye-bye. Okay.